session. This time I would like to welcome Shrey Malhotra, right? He heads the New Delhi chapter of GDG, right? And interestingly, I want you all to give a good round of applause for him because, okay, he has been in person to Google California headquarters for the Google I/O, right? And next, he is a hacker by himself, and he's going to help you how to hack Android, right? In terms of creating an app from the start. And how many of you told me that you were interested in creating a game from the start? Okay, this is the person you will have to, concretely follow, right? And I give the stage upon to Shreya. All the very best to you.
Thank you. Hi guys, how are you? How's the sessions going on? As in, how's the day? So, firstly, let's see, how many of you are, have you been to such events before? Such kind of level up events? So this might be the first answer. Firstly, I would like to thank Karthik and Jayathan to invite me from Delhi to give this session. Thank you so much, and the GDG Chennai team also. Thank you for inviting me. I was just listening to the conversation that was happening before the session, where all of you were asking questions, wow, where do I start, where do I begin, how do I create games, what is this? Is this that tough? Is it that easy to do that? I might be answering few of your questions during my presentation, but the focus of the presentation is basically to get you started with creating games in Android, and creating games in Android using Ant Engine. Ant Engine is one of the engines, game engines, that is very easy to use. It's free, it's open source, and you can easily create games on Android. It's fun to do that. The only thing is that the Ant Engine does not have documentation. It has examples. So if you're trying to create a game, you'll be learning by examples, not by reading the code documentation. So that is the fun part of it, that you have all the examples in front of you. You can start editing those examples, copying them in your game, and using that concept for your games. So now, before we jump into Ant Engine, I would like to know from the crowd, how many of you have actually developed a game? Okay. And how many of you have played games, firstly? That's a simple question. Okay. On Android, how many of you played regularly? So do you prefer a mobile platform, or do you prefer playing on the PC? I know hardcore gamers would like PC, right? So why don't you like mobile platforms? Small screens? Okay, lesser gaming. Yeah, I said, apart from the hardcore gamers, the normal people, you like games on Android, right? So I'll start by answering a few questions that you have in mind. Yeah, so where to begin? There are so many stuff in game development, so many questions to ask. AI, game logic, then you have game engines like Unity 3D, Ant Engine, Cocos 2D, Unreal, UDK, right? Then we have either I create a 2D game, or should I begin with a 2D game, or should I begin with a 3D game? Then who does the designing part of it? I am not a designer, I'm just a programmer. Who does the designing? Then sound, music, who creates music and sound for this? So firstly, the question is where to begin. See, the answer to this question would be, what do you want to do? As in, you have to pick your field. Are you a programmer? Are you a designer? Are you a music sound designer? Are you an artist? Or you just want to create game levels? You want to become a game designer? A game designer is different from a programmer, because the game designer is the one who decides what's going to happen in the game, how the story will proceed, how do you put the AI there. You don't program the AI, but you put it, where will be the enemies, everything. So that is one field I think a lot of you would be interested in. That is called game designer. That is not a programmer. The programmer is only there to provide you all these features. So to answer to where to begin, the thing is, the first thing you should start is choose your field, stick to it. You will like other other kind of fields. You will like designing, then you like programming, then you like other things. But to stick to one field and try out the other ones. It is very hard to do everything. It is very hard to build a game. I am talking about a full-blown game on your own. You need people to do things for you. So what we'll be talking about is Unity 3D. I don't know how many of you know Unity 3D. How many of you actually know what a game engine is and what a game is? What is the difference between a game engine and a game? Okay, so the difference lies where, so first, before I proceed, I just want to ask, do you want to see the codes behind the game that you want to build? Or do you want to first understand what game development is? Because we just have 1 hour. We just have 1 hour for the session. So either you decide, do you want to see the codes? I can share the codes later on. Then you can go about reading those codes. And right now I can discuss what game engines, what is the concepts behind these. So we'll do the concepts first, and then I'll show you a basic piece of codes that I've written that you can later on see the whole, as in I'll share it with the GDG Chennai team, and they can send it over to you. Okay, so the difference between a game engine and a game, there is a very thin line of difference between them. So what a game engine is, basically, if you start beginning creating your own games, the thing that is, you are creating a game engine, you're not creating a game. So the game engine is basically all the frameworks, everything, the physics, I mean all the collisions, everything, you are programming into the engine. You are giving the rendering engine, which renders onto the screen, which the things you see, the objects you see. You play, right? You play Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, all of FPS, right? So you see so many objects there. And it keeps on refreshing every second. Everything keeps on, it is all dynamic. So this is where the game engine comes in. The game engine is responsible for creating all these resources for you, removing the resources from the memory. Whenever you require it, it will show you that. So basically, you do not program how the game will work. You will not program what will happen when I open the door, what will happen when I shoot, when my ammo is down, what will happen. You will not program all this as a game engine developer. As a game engine developer, you will program what happens when a ball is thrown, when an object is thrown, what is the physics, how animation takes place, how is the animation between the running animation. You've seen cutscenes, right? In-game cutscenes. When you are playing and suddenly a video starts inside the game. So these are called cutscenes, in-game cutscenes, where everything, the control gets to the computer itself, to the engine, and you are not in control of that. So this is where the game engine comes from. Now, what is a game then? A game is where you take this engine and then you define the rules for the game. That, okay, we have 5 levels, we'll be having 6 levels. At each level, you have these objectives. You have to complete this objective. You build the maps for the game. That is where the game comes in. So there is a very thin line of difference. A game engine is where you provide all the code. I'll show you architecture of the game engine, how game engines like Unity, UDK are built. I'll show you the architecture. The thing is, the difference is, again, I'll say you that what you do is you create a game engine first. You write the code, memory management, everything has to be optimized. Your code has to be optimized. It has to run. Because if you understand how the game works, a game is always running. It's a infinite loop. So just imagine running your system in an infinite loop. If you don't remove the resources and allocate the resources at the right time, your system hangs up and it freezes off. That happens. That happens a lot of time. So just imagine a while loop going on and on and on. That is the game loop. That is called the game loop, where all the variables are updated, everything is updated, the physics is calculated, the AI is calculated. I know these are big words for a beginner, but this is where the logic lies, that it's a for loop, and you keep on checking for inputs, you keep on checking for the score, the health and everything inside that for loop. So that is called the game loop. Moving on. Is that hard or easy? The things I'm explaining, is that okay? So you can create your own games. I don't deny the fact that one person cannot create a game, You can create a game, but then either you will be concentrating on the logic of the game, or either you'll be concentrating on the graphics of the game. Then you cannot do all of the things together. So a one-person game is always, it's a smaller project than a big company being taken by like 100, more than 100, 500 people involved in one game. So it is hard, for sure. It is not a piece of cake. It is not like that you go on Google and you start searching for tutorials for Android game development. You will find a lot of tutorials. I don't deny the fact, but the thing is, you need to understand what is happening behind. Then only you can create those as and understand those tutorials. Then it is easy. Yes, it is easy. There are tools out there. These game engines. So I'll explain you a simple game. You know what Canvas is on Android or any web-based. So Canvas, what is this? Canvas is a thing where you can directly program into Android. You need to know Android for that, and you can create. Or then you have to create everything for that. Android, you draw shapes. You have to create methods for drawing shape, removing those shapes, animating those shapes. Every single thing that you have to handle. That is one way you approach a game. Without using any engines, you just natively start programming on the platform. The other way, the engines. Why we build these engines? Because we want to make our work easy. So whenever I want to have one image displayed on the screen, I don't have to write the code again and again. What I'll do is I'll just call that object of my game engine and pass the image, the link to that image, the source part to that image. And every time it receives the source, it will show or display an image. So I don't have to bother about what is happening at the behind. It's basically like an API where you don't bother what's happening behind. A game engine is basically a compilation of all the libraries and everything that you don't bother that what is happening inside. Just that you should know what relevant parameters you have to pass through the method and all. So that is why the game engines are built. Game engines are built so that the work is easy. We can manage properly everything, the resources. The game is running properly, smoothly on every platform and all. So that is why game engines are created. To create a game engine, it is hard. But to create games, that is not hard. Because all you do is decide how the levels will appear, what will appear on the screen, everything. So it is hard to create a game engine. But there are game engines out there. They say don't reinvent the wheel because it's already there. If you want to, you can, obviously. But for a beginner, don't reinvent the wheel again. There are engines out there. Go test them out, program on them, write codes for them. And one of the engines is And Engine. It is very easy to use. That's why I've written, is that easy? Yes, And Engine is very easy. You will see how easy. The plan was to have a hackathon session with you guys and create a game in just 3 hours. A simple game, but a game in 3 hours. But that could not be possible. We just have 1 hour with us. So explain this as we go about how it is. Yeah, so the question. I just explained to you this question, why should I use a game engine? Because you don't want to reinvent the wheel. It is already there. You just need to create games out of the engine. Once you are familiar with how creating games are, then you can go about creating engines. So firstly, don't jump into, okay, from today I'm going to go and I'll become a game developer. So let's start creating a game engine. That's not it. First go, test it out, use these engines, develop something. Then you'll be comfortable with these engines, and these are open source. So once you have the code in front of you, you can see how this is working. What is the architecture behind this? So I'll just quickly show you the architecture behind one of the big engines. Just a second. Yeah, so this. Yeah, so this is the architecture behind a big engine. So just imagine if you go about creating this engine. And this engine can run on any platform you want, Xbox, anything you want. So just imagine if you go about creating all these layers. So where will you land up? I did not land up anywhere. I tried doing it, I did not land up anywhere. Anyway, so just quickly, what game engine, I'll go by the layers one by one. We'll start with the bottommost layer. Oopsie, I lost the page. Anybody 29? Thank you. Yeah, so the first layer, the simplest, the hardware. The platform you're developing for, you don't need to do anything there. Then the drivers that are working for that. Then the OS, for PC, that's Windows. For PS3 and Xbox, they have their own custom OS for that. Then the third-party SDKs. These are the one that these are the platform SDKs, DirectX, OpenGL, OpenGL ES on Android. Then you have a lot of them. Then you also have some of the engines, Physics Engine, PhysicsX. I don't know how many of you have heard about PhysicsX, Havok. So all these engines are basically providing you functionality of physics. Physics is basically nothing that you've seen. A simple physics example would be a collision detection. Something goes off the screen, you have to bounce it back. Something tries to collide with something else, it has to bounce back with the real physics calculated. So try imagining that you are creating an engine that has physics involved, and you're trying to recreate those physics. So even I am just showing what game engine architecture is. If you go inside and look about what is physics engine architecture, there's a whole lot of another story. So just imagine there are out there. I know some of them are not open source, but when big game industries, they come out with a project, they hire these guys. They take the source code from them and use them in their game. So PhysicsX and Havok will help you code your games. For Android, you can use Box2D for 2D games and some 2.5D games also. Box2D is an open source kind of stuff where you can use that directly. All you need to do is pass a method that, okay, when collision happens, just bounce back. That's all you need to do. You don't have to care how this will be calculated, what force will be calculated. All you need to do is define the mass of the object, the mass of the other object, and all the parameters that are required for collision. That's all. So that's why they play a large role in helping your game succeed, because these SDK provide all the functionality and all. Then these are platform independent layer, where that makes it independent of the layer, it makes it independent of the platform that you're developing for. You've seen Unity, UTK, all these engines are developed, and at the end, when you press the publish button, there is an option where to publish for Android, for iPhone, iOS, for PC, Xbox, PS3. So just one click and it goes to the next platform. You don't even have to code again and again for every platform. That's because what they have done is they're smart enough. They have created a layer that is independent of the platform, and everything that is dependent on the platform is connected to this layer. So everything above this would not depend upon what platform you are using until it supports it. That's all. Then you have the core system. Everything has a core system. C++ has its core system, has all the libraries and everything. It has the maths library. Okay, first of you, how many of you are good in math? How many of you are good in math? Math is the first thing you should know before you get into game development. How many of you know a Fourier transform? How many of you know vectors? Vectors in 3 dimension? How many of you know matrix multiplication? An n-dimension matrix multiplication? So this is all you have to know. You have to learn math before you get into game development. It is the first thing you should know. You should know how to calculate vectors, how to calculate forces, where will the object placed, and the coordinate system for sure, and not the coordinate system that we used to learn, x and y. No, it's x, y, z, right? So you should know the 3-dimensional coordinate system. So math is very important for that, and these libraries provide a lot of direct methods to use. So you don't have to multiply matrix one by one, multiplying the row and then adding it. These libraries directly provide the function where you pass on your arrays, multi-dimensional arrays, and they'll give you the multiplication. Uh, an example would be the XNA math library. If you know that what XNA is, so it is XNA math library provides a lot of functions directly for that. I'm skipping all this because this is not relevant. What is relevant is the topmost layer. Yeah, this game-specific subsystems. These are used by game designers and developers, the ones I was talking about, where you decide what weapons, power-up, vehicles, puzzles, cameras, and everything has to be decided. So this is where a beginner should always go through. This is where you can test it out, you can play around, and then understand how the game engine was built. Now coming back to Ant Engine, what all should I learn for creating games in Android? First, Android. Hello World is not enough. And even that form is not enough. I forgot to write that. Creating a simple form is not enough. You need to know more. Game programming, the one we were talking about. Game programming is required when you need to create game engine. If you're using a game engine, you should know how to use it. So third, game logic, a little bit to begin with. Game logic would be basically a simple AI. The simplest AI would be where to move your enemy. How does the enemy decides that you are there? Sometimes in games you've seen that in complex AI, what happens is even through walls, the enemy know that we are standing outside. I don't know how many of you actually seen that. It's there in only few games, but it is still coming up that even if you're behind a wall or you're hiding behind something, the enemy knows that you are there. Then math. Again, math. It'll be everywhere. Creating graphics. Okay, how many of you are a designer? You have to either be a designer, either be a developer, or either know math. Anyway, next one would be for you. Or I have an idea. How many of you have an idea for a game? Still very few. You don't have an idea for the game? Any game you want to create yourself and you don't have an idea for that? At least get that. Right? You should have ideas. And the most important thing, patience and drive to create those games. I am working on 16 projects and I've given them all. I have shut down all of those projects. I started with 16 projects and I'm not even developing one out of them. I don't have the patience to do that. So that is very important. If you picked in a project, complete it to the end, no matter what. No matter even if you are putting it on the App Store, anywhere, complete it. That way you will realize that, okay, there is one project I have in hand that I can refer back whenever I want. So try to complete that. And love for games. How many have love for games? Don't tell me you don't have love for games. People who are not raising their hands, what do you do? So if you play, even if you play, you should have love for games. Yeah. So, and more. There is a long list that you should have, but these are some of them that you should begin with. Okay. What is Ant Engine? Ant Engine was developed by Nicholas. You can go to antengine.org and download the source code for that and then compile it for yourself. You can modify the way you want and then use it in your games. It's a free open source 2D engine. You cannot create 3D games with that, but then it's always good to begin with a 2D game. It's always good to know what you're trying to do in a 2D space and then push it up to the 3D. You can create 2.5D games. Do you know what is 2.5D games? Okay, 2.5D games are, I think it's like you are in a 2D space, but we'll try to make you feel that you are in a 3D space. I know this might be confusing. Have you played games where side scrollers, where you run from the side? Give me an example of that game.
Mario, 3D Mario.
Yeah, Mario and all. Which one? Yeah. So something like Angry Birds. So does it not it feel like a 3D? The objects, everything, or does it feel like a 2D? It feels like a 3D, but it's a 2D game. You all know that it's a 2D game. We do not go into the Z axis. So these are called 2.5D, where we give the perception to the user that you are playing in a 3D space, but you stick to one, as in plane. You just stick to one plane, but it goes inside also. You can see it from the front, but the level goes inside of the screen. So that's called 2.5D game. There was one game, Contra. How many of you played? Yeah, so these kind of games were 2.5D, where you run across and you can jump forward, behind. You used to jump in the water and then come back up. So these are just even though they are 2D games, developed as a 2D kind of game, but they give a perception that you're playing a 3D game. Then, firstly, you can create awesome games in no time. There is a large community to help you out. Less documentation and more examples. This is very important. For people who are just beginning with Android, I know you like the source code, you like it to copy and just paste it, right? How many of you like to copy and paste the code and then you say, I am an Android developer? How many of you will do that? Yeah, so this is fun for you then. This AND engine is what you require to begin with, but don't do that for a long time. You won't survive in the industry. If you want to go into the industry, you won't survive much longer. Try to recreate that code. I'm not saying don't copy paste. If you have a code in front of you, try to play with that code, break that code again, remove one of the lines and see what happens, add another line and see what happens. That's how you will learn. Then works on OpenGL ES. OpenGL is another, I told you, a framework at the lower level, which is accessing the direct hardware. On Android, it works on an OpenGL ES. ES is the version for mobile. It was working on an OpenGL ES. So you can use 3D assets, as in the objects, no. So you have to create sprites out of that. Yeah, so works on an OpenGL ES2. This is very important, an active community to help you out. Any question you have, you go to the forum and paste it, and they'll help you out. But only do that when you have looked for it. Don't go about asking the same question again and again. Look for answers in the forum. If you don't find it, then go on. And if people in the forum cannot answer, just mail Nicholas. You can directly mail him, and he will actually reply to your emails. I have tried that out. But only when you have found, as in you had found no answers on anywhere, on Stack Overflow, on the forums, anywhere, then directly you can mail him to, and he'll reply to that. If you have, since it's an open source and you want to add something to it, there is a Git for that. You can just create that code, and if it is accepted, it will be added to the engine. Then it supports extensions like Box, 2D, Physics Engine, SVG. How many of you know SVG? Yeah, SVG are scalable vector graphics. These are different from what you create in Photoshop. What these graphics are, that you can scale it up to any resolution you want. You can either create a small 64 by 64 image of it, or you can create a 64,000 by 64,000 image of it. It will not pixelate. So these are used in games because you might be developing for different resolutions for different devices. So these are the best options that you can do that, but they are hard on memory. So just imagine using a 64 by 64 would use the same space as 64,000 by 64,000. Just imagine that. And Box 2D, Physics Engine, all you need to do is include that in your library as a library project. And what you pass is just simple statements that, okay, I want to calculate the physics. I know you don't have to write this. You have to actually write the method and pass the parameters. The parameters would be just what is the first object, what is the second object. That's all you need to do. So that's why extensions are supporting AND engine. A lot of extensions are out there, user-created extension that supports multiplayer. So all you need to do is just initialize the multiplayer object and pass on all the details to it, all the information that is required by that object, and you can have a multiplayer game. So, and use the accelerometer from the devices. Again, there's a thing that it's an open source, firstly. So anything on the Android stack, anything on the Android hardware, you want to use a camera, you want to use anything you want, you can create it along with the game. So just imagine a game where it uses a camera to do anything. I don't know. You might have an idea of using the camera inside the game itself. Installing Ant Engine, simple. I will share a link afterwards. I don't know if Karthik has done that before, but I'll share it again. It has the link to, it has the resources for the games, the sound, music, the graphics that we were supposed to make. It has the link to the Ant Engine, the project Ant Engine, and this presentation also. So you can have a look at the presentation also later on. So first is download the project, download as a zip file, and then extract it and add it to your workspace. How many of you actually, firstly, how many of you are actually Android developers who have used Android? So explaining workspace won't do anything. Anyway, the people who know workspace, you know in Eclipse there is a workspace. Just import this project in your workspace, create a new Android project, and then use Ant Engine as a library. This method does not work when you are exporting it as a final APK. To do that, you need the jar file. You can always compile it. That's an advanced thing to do. You can just, or you can just download it if you want. So this is how you add a library project. The add button. You can add the library project from the add button in your project properties. You can just add it, and then you can start using all the methods in the Ant Engine. So some of the games I created, one is the Koala Bear and one is the Skyfly. Koala Bear is just a simple game. You just need to tap koala bears. There will be a kind of a, there will be many animals coming down the screen, and all you need to do is hit the koala bears. That's a simple game. Skyfly is you need to fly the plane using joysticks. Firstly, the first screen that you see on your, when the game starts, these are called splash screens. This one is a splash screen, that is a menu. That is a menu for the game. So you can create custom menus, you can create custom splash screens. The way you see when a game pops up, the first screen that comes out, then music plays, then there is the menu there, play, exit, and all that. So this is how you create them. I'll show you the code for that. Then this is a custom loading screen for one of my games. You can create your own custom loading. At the background, you can load all the resources for your game. And once the resources are loaded, then you can start your levels. So this is the example of Skyfly. The test for Skyfly was doing. Using the joystick, you can fly the plane around. You have to go through the loops. With the time, you have to pass through the loops, and using the one joystick, you can just fly it around. Yeah, so we were supposed to create this game, Bubble or Burst. It's a simple game. You just need to burst the bubbles. Without any logic, you just need to burst. There will be bubbles on the screen, random bubbles appearing, and you just need to burst them. So this is the splash screen for the Bubble or Burst game. I will be giving these resources to you later on if you want to try it out. You can download the resources from here. It must be private right now, but we'll make it public afterwards. The link is given. You can note down the link if you want. It contains all the graphics, sound, and music for the game. So this was basically supposed to be a step-by-step procedure for you guys. Create a new Android project, include Ant Engine, and then finally remove the default code for the Android. The activity extends activity and on create and all that. Remove all that code and just keep it simple and plain. So I won't be getting into the code because I know some of you, as in most of you, don't know exactly how Android works. But for those who know, I was talking about engines, right? So this is an engine, right? Ant Engine. The first method, the way Ant Engine works is it is by callback. Callback method. What is callback is basically there's a launching method, something like in C++ you have main. That is the entry point of the game. When the game enters that method, after that it sends a callback that, okay, this method has done its work, and then the next method comes on. So the thing is, how this works is the first thing is we need to create the engine. We need to initialize the engine in the game. Initializing the engine would be giving the size, the resolution of the game, giving the, what do you call, you can give other options for the engine that you need music, you need sounds, you need playback of sound in your engine. So these options are being passed into engine. And then once the engine is initialized, it is ready to display your images, your sounds, it's everything. Once the engine is initialized, it will put a, you can see a return statement. So once the engine is ready, it will return that engine. And what will happen is the method will come back to onCreateResources. OnCreateResources is basically where you create all your resources, where you create your images, your sprites, your sound, you link it to your MP3 file, WAV file, your PNGs, JPEG, backgrounds, everything. So everything that you need for creating resources will be in this method. So this is the next method that comes off. After that, finally, when everything is there, all the resources are loaded, your resources are loaded, engine is ready. Now it's time to create scenes. Basically, if you played any of the FPS, scenes are basically the screens that comes one after the other. Levels are very different from scenes. Scenes are basically just the screens that are appearing in front of the GUI, the menu screens, the options that you see. So these are the scenes that will be coming up. So for example, it would be a splash scene. It would be a main scene where the game plays. Then there will be a menu scene. Then there will be a score scene where all the scores will be displayed and everything will be happening. So what will we try to do is we'll try to create one scene and then we'll shift it to the other scene. That's what it happens. In AND engine is like one scene, then we go to the next scene, then we go to the next scene. So every scene has their own resources and you can destroy those resources when not needed and you can recreate those resources. So what we'll do is first we'll look into the engine options. Yeah, so this is very important if you're trying testing this out on an emulator. For people who know Android, they know what emulators are. These are used to